we live in a world that's pretty saturated with images, with really beautiful images a lot of times. And it can be a little difficult for the learning photographer to realize just how much work goes into a lot of those beautiful finished images they see in news magazines or National Geographic, things like that. No National Geographic goes on assignment to shoot the Great Pyramid or whatever, gets off the plane in Egypt, walks out, sees the pyramid, thinks about it, sets up their camera, and goes, click, okay, I've got the shot, I'm going home. It doesn't work that way. They shoot lots and lots of pictures. They shoot dozens of pictures, hundreds of pictures, hoping to get down to those 12 to 13 that might go in a magazine article. This is a process called working the shot, and it's something that you have to start doing if you want to get good composition, if you want to get good exposure. Working the shot is critical to finding the image that's really there after you had an impulse that there's a photo there of some kind. A lot of people kind of naturally resist shooting a lot because when you get home, you've got all of these images and most of them are bad. And so you feel like, oh, wow, I shot 50 images today and there are only 2 that I like. No, 2 out of 50 is a good ratio. If you think about it, you would never walk into a painter's studio and see a lot of sketches on the floor and one finished painting and go, I don't know, he only got 1 out of these, dozens of sketches that are here. Those sketches lead up to the finished painting. That's what working the shot is. It's the way you discover the image, it's the way you sketch the image, it's the way you refine the image. So I'm going to show you an example of that right now. I'm out here outside of the lodge and it's late in the day, so I'm going to move pretty quickly here to get through this. And there's this wonderful cement path going off this way, and there's a shadow being cast by the bridge over here alongside it. I really like the relationship of these 2 things. They're kind of similar shape. They're going off in this V sort of thing. One's really dark, one's really light. I'm shooting black and white, so I'm thinking I can exaggerate that darkness and lightness even more. So I just need to find the right framing. Now I'm standing right here at the apex of them, so this seems like this might be pretty dramatic. I've got one going off this way, one going off this way. I'm shooting at a pretty wide angle to exaggerate that some, and I'm going to take my shot. Yeah, and that's kind of boring. I can't really see it there. I'm seeing it kind of going off this way and kind of going off that way. It's not as dramatic as I thought it was. So I might consider zooming in a little bit tighter, maybe moving back and zooming in a little bit tighter again. These are mostly the same, as you can see. There's nothing real dramatic. The key to working the shot is to feel your feet moving. If your feet are not moving, you're not working the shot. So I'm going to get mine moving by going this way and come out here and see what I see. So now I'm seeing the road. I'm not seeing the path as much because it's leading directly away from me, and it's starting off down this hill, so that's hiding it. And there's a big tree in the middle of it. That's not helping. That's blocking my view. So this doesn't work. I'm going to go this way and see what I can find. Again, I'm moving kind of fast because the sun is sinking pretty quickly. This is a little bit interesting, except now I'm down too low. I'm looking along the path. I can't see it as well, and this shadow is really dominating. I would like to be taller, and I'm very fortunate in that I'm standing just below a balcony that's overlooking this whole thing. So, and it's pointed in the right direction. Got a little sunlight left. I'm going to head up there and see what I can find. Okay, so we're up quite a bit higher now. I'm hoping this is going to make a difference. If I sound frantic, that's because the sun's going over the mountains. Here's a quick little tip for knowing how much time you have. Hold your hand at arm's length. The number of fingers between the bottom of the sun and the horizon, it's about 7 minutes per finger. So I got about 20 minutes here. I'm doing pretty good. So if I come over here to the edge and take a look at where I'm at, right away I can tell we're really getting somewhere now. Got a clear view of both the road and the shadow, and even the bridge if I want to play with that. So I've got 3 elements I can work with here. But something really interesting is happening, and this is why we work the shot. A new element has presented itself that I never saw in the first place, and that's a street sign that's down there that's kind of sitting right at the apex of the 2 lines. So that might be something interesting. So I'm going to shoot in both orientations because I'm not sure what might be better. I'm also bracketing my depth of field. I'm shooting at f11. I want all of this in focus, so I'm putting my focus point either closer out or further in to move my depth of field around to ensure that things up close are going to be focus. Still, these shots are, I don't know, they're okay, but they're kind of not okay. So I'm going to keep working it. If I come over here, I'm thinking maybe I take the bridge out completely. Simplify is, of course, our mantra, so maybe I get rid of the bridge and work with just the lines. That's not bad, except the bridge shadow is kind of big. I'm getting some extra shadow, so I'm going to try going this way. And again, my feet are moving. That's the clue that I'm working the shot, and this is what you should be doing no matter what you're shooting. You want to have your feet moving. You want to be looking to find the shot. Again, think of it as sketching. As I'm sketching, I've now added this new element. I'm playing with the lines in different ways, working up to my final shot, and I think that this is it. Let's do a black and white conversion on this, and we end up with this, our final image. You can see I played with the tones some to play up that relationship that I had originally seen, but this is a composition that's very different than what I had originally envisioned when I was standing down there. I worked it. I worked my way through and discovered this shot. I've got a whole bunch of other pictures that are technically not any good, but they served a purpose. They got me through to this. I could not envision this in my head initially. And you may think, well, if you were a good photographer, you would have been able to see that in your head. That's just not how it works. Sometimes you get that. Sometimes you have the moment, the inspiration where you do see it in your head perfectly realized and you take it. Most of the time, though, we work the shot. You're going to see me doing this throughout the rest of the course. You're going to hear me nagging you about it. I promise you, until you really have experienced this some, you're just not going to be shooting enough. You've got to always work it more, work a little deeper. One of the easiest ways to work the shot that's kind of most immediately effective is to try moving closer to your subject right away. Very often you'll see a scene, maybe not a big landscape like this. You'll take a shot, and the solution to the shot is to get in a little bit closer. It inherently simplifies the image, and it's a very good initial working. So practice that with all of the exercises that we're going to be sending you out on during this course.